MagnaMax is here. Overkill is underrated. I've often said that metric is, bupkis anyway. Don't get me started on Ken. Because, should I make the joke? I'm gonna make the joke. Hey everyone, David C. Anderson from the KnifeCenter. Welcome to the show, which consists of the coolest new knives that have just hit our shelves. They're right here on the table in front of me. We are starting things off this week with several exclusives. Well, two, and then a few other things, and then another one. Stick around. We got some fixed blades from Defiant 7 to start off the show, which has one of my favorite taglines in the business: overkill is underrated. And when you look at their knives, yeah, it fits. This right here is an Alan Olishewicz design, if you couldn't tell by the logo on the back. This is the BK fixed blade. I'm not exactly sure what BK stands for in this case, but it is very clearly, a compact fighter in a way. Blade is 4 3/4 inch long, S45 VN steel. So you've got basically a little bit more edge retention than S35 VN without sacrificing the toughness aspect so much. Getting into the weeds already, but S30V is closely related, of course, which has more edge retention than S35, but less toughness. S45 is supposed to kind of like combine the best traits of the two. But it's a very cool spear point blade shape. We talked about this the other day. I'd call that a spear point, although the website calls it a drop point. But we've got a high flat grind and an almost full length swedge to keep the tip nice and piercy. There we go.
Tweezers for that tick.
There we go. No tweezers on the table today. We do sell tweezers, however. But this is a knife. This profile is obviously not a super wide blade. It's narrow, and the balance is quick in hand as well. Handles are black and orange G10. This is, of course, because this version is an exclusive, but other flavors are available. And it's kept nice and slim to keep it easy to carry every day, or even carry concealed if you want to. And it'd be a good option to carry every day if this is not too big of a platform for you, because, like I said, it would carry fairly flat, even though it's long. But that's a pretty utilitarian blade shape as well, in addition to being, combative. The sheath goes a long way to keeping this an everyday proposition. It's Kydex, and it's about as low profile as you're gonna get. Not too much sticking out here at the end. Taco style, so you don't have the row of rivets at the top, and just nice and snug here down below. Comes equipped with an ulti clip, which is great for carrying this inside the waistband. I would not recommend this for pocket carry, however. Ulti clips are great for pocket carry, but only if the knife is not too big. I'd say this knife is probably too big for pocket carry. But hey, you do you. Let's check the hole spacing for Tech-Lock compatibility. Yes, we have Tech-Lock compatibility here. T-clip from Civivi also follows the same hole pattern, so if you wanted to carry this with a mount or a belt clip like that, you could certainly do the deed. Next up, we have our exclusive handle on the Defiant 7 Bullie, a Tom Crine design, evidenced by the logo right there. And this is a shorter yet stouter design than the BK that we see right there. Both of them have fairly thick blade stock. Actually, the BK is slightly thicker here. It looks about 3/16 of an inch on that one. Let me double check. 0.19. Yeah, 3/16 is 1.875, so that was pretty on. This is a little bit slimmer. Looks about 5/32, which is like 0.15 something. What are we here? It says 0.19. Come on, man, that's not right. It's a little slimmer. We'll make sure the specs are up to date when we before the video goes live. Anyway, what do we have here? Did I mention the price on the BK? $285, US made. The Bullie here is $275, and you've got K110 steel here. So you don't get the powder metallurgy performance and the toughness that S45 brings to the table, but you do get a classic like hunting knife steel, because K110 is a name brand D2. Even though it's not as tough, it's still going to be pretty sturdy, I would say. But again, like D2 is just like a classic hunting knife steel, probably because of Bob Dozier, quite honestly. Everything's Bob Dozier's fault. That's not true. Some of them are Bob Lovelace's fault. And some are Tom Mayo's fault. Kit Carson is to blame for... Anyway.
Let's not even get into Ken Onion.
Oh, man. Don't get me started on Ken. 4-inch blade here. Broad drop point blade or shape. The G10 is very hand filling right here. You have a pretty tall swell from the profile section, and it does fill up the hand quite nicely. Locks in really well. This could be a really comfortable knife for doing longer sessions of work, whether it's doing a hunting or skinning type of thing, or doing other camp stuff, woodworking and carving, that sort of thing. Feels Nash. The sheath here is also Kydex. It's also pretty low profile, as you can see. It comes equipped with a single strap here with a pull the dot snap, which means it's not going to come loose if it goes that way, only if you pull it in the correct direction, which is exactly how it's supposed to work. And I'd go out on a limb and say it's TechLock compatible, and double checking, yes it is. That is the Bullie.
Give me your lunch money.
Give me lunch. Next up, also from Defiant 7, and if small knives and the idea of small knives sort of trigger you, look away now. Come back in a few minutes. We have a Les George collaboration. This is the Ace from Defiant 7. Steel is AEBL, cost is $150, and the blade length is just over 2.5. And AEBL is great. I'm doing a quick mental checklist to think if... Nope, AEBL is still my favorite non-particle metallurgy, like traditional ingot-made steel, I would say. It's just great stuff. Doesn't hold an edge crazy long, but holds an edge well, and you can get it super sharp as well because it has a really tight, fine grain structure that is easy to sharpen, so you can get it scalpel-like, super easy. I should have said razor-like really easy, which would be appropriate because AEBL was originally a razor blade steel. It's also really tough as well, really durable stuff. Anyway, very clearly a Les George inspired or Les George designed drop point shape here. I think that's pretty evident. Stone washed finish on all of these blades actually. So your scratches will blend in as you use it. Really aggressive texturing on the thin G10 scales here. So even though it's only a 3-finger grip, it's not going to slip out, or that will make it less likely to slip out of your grip when you is cutting. 1.6 ounces on the knife itself, not bad. This would be a great pocket fixed blade, I would say, with the Kydex sheath here and the Ulti clip on board. And it looks like small and large TechLock compatibility if you want to swap things up. Large TechLock works. Let's see, where's the small TechLock? There's one over here somewhere. Even though it is a discontinued item at this point, if you have one laying around, you could use a small TechLock. Or you could use the Ulti clip and carry it in your pocket. And I would very much approve. How about another pocket fixed blade? And drum roll, please. MagnaMax is here. Creely Blades Minnow with MagnaMax steel. As far as I know, this is the first MagnaMax blade we've had in stock at the KnifeCenter. Things are starting to maybe trickle in, but I think this is the first. At least it's the first I have held in my hands from inventory right here. What is MagnaMax? Well, it takes the Magna Cut recipe, which is stainless steel with high edge retention and high toughness, sitting at a really good cross-section of all three of those things in a way that no other particle metallurgy steel has been able to manage, shoots the toughness or shoots the edge retention high up at the sacrifice of some of the toughness, giving you a stainless alternative to stuff like K390, which is a non-stainless steel with high edge retention and decent toughness. Now you can get it with stainless as well, only with MagnaMax. And here you go. And that's appropriate on a smaller knife like this, where toughness, enough toughness is okay. Enough is enough, so to speak. But the smaller the blade here, that higher edge retention is going to pay really extra special dividends, so to speak. And it's a pocket fixed blade, which is very cool. Here it is, Kydex sheath. Very minimal sheath here as well, although you are going to have to supply your own old T-clip or other attachment method, even though we're calling it a pocket fixed blade. Previous versions of this have had a bulkier leather sheath, however. 2.12-inch MagnaCut blade made in
MagnaMax.
Thank you, Thomas. Boy, how many times am I going to make that mistake in the upcoming years?
I'll start a counter.
We'll find out. Made in Pennsylvania by Gary Creely himself. $200 for this bad boy. Really nice hand filling. Hand filling's the wrong word. Fingerful grips. It's a substantial handle, even though it is only a 3-finger grip, as you can see right here. And the handles aren't all just this yellow. We have black, orange, some liner-like colors as well. And they're carbon fiber composite 3D printed handles. That's pretty cool too. So basically lightweight and strong is the bullet points right there. And highly utility driven as well. All right, next up, we're keeping the small knife train going for a little bit longer. But we have some folders now to talk about. This is a knife that is officially dropping tomorrow or the day after this video posts. But you could put your order in right now and it'll just ship tomorrow. Because they are available for pre-order right now. That is the Knafs O.C.T, which stands for Old College Try. The story of it is pretty cool. Knafs, of course, headed up by Ben Peterson. They hired a guy named Matthew Fitzgerald, basically as an intern initially out of college, and now he's working for them full-time, and he's doing designs and other things in-house. And this is his first knife design. Old College Try, pretty cool. In fact, some cool colors too. The details, or this detail on the pivot button itself, button lock, is supposed to resemble an element from his college campus. I think one of the roof lines looking down, like tower thing. Look it up. It's real information. So that's pretty cool. It is a smaller knife, as mentioned, a 1.89-inch blade of Sandvik's 14C 28N. They call it a Wharncliffe, at least our website does. I'd say it's more of a sheep's foot myself, but it is nice and thin. The tip is certainly precise enough, and the handle is aluminum, and it feels really good. And interestingly, sort of everyone's trying to cram as much blade into a given handle as possible a lot of the times. You can see there's some extra space here a little bit. I think that's okay because it's still a 2.5 to 3-finger grip handle, which you want to have enough to work on, and yet it's a sub 2-inch blade, something that's going to be useful just about anywhere. You could take just about anywhere that you could legally take a knife, and it's just a small utility knife. I don't mind that its blade to handle ratio is off. In fact, I've often said that metric is, bupkis anyway. The balance and the lines, the way it carves out of the handle into the top of the grind line right here, it's just really graceful and nicely done. Sure, let's go with that. And the action too is crispy on these, I gotta say. Really, really nice. Deep carry pocket clip, reversible with a blockout plate on the front. There's another plate for the back side if you want to swap the clip around, because obviously this is not a symmetrical plate right here. Closed back with screws on the back side. Everything about it is very, very tastefully and expertly done. If you want a black blade, you can get that either with a black handle or this green option right here. Price on all of these is $74.99 to be specific. But if you want something higher end than the 14C28N, we are also launching our KnifeCenter exclusive version of this at the same time, which features S35 VN steel coming in just under $100 right now. Very cool. We went a little more, I say a little more tame, but like black on black is, a pretty safe color combo. The gray with a hint of kind of slate blue here for the pocket clip. Why am I saying pocket clip? Thumb stud is a nice touch, in my opinion. Stonewashed finish on this one, satin on the other non-coated blade. Same crispy action, Same, just super useful small shape and even better edge retention. That's something you kind of want to think about when you're dealing with a smaller blade like this. You want the edge, because there's so much less of it, to last as long as possible. So S35VN gives you more edge retention. Although I have no qualms with 14C28N either. As I have mentioned in this episode, AEBL is my favorite ingot stainless steel out there, and 14C28N is just a derivation of that. So I like it. But our exclusive's pretty nice too. Yeah, just saying.
Sell the knives, David.
I guess that's what I'm supposed to do, huh? Let's look at another blue knife, another small blue knife here. This is a limited edition Duke 2 from ProTech. So good. US made, Magna cut steel, $240, and it is, of course, an automatic. A gentlemanly switchblade shape, if I've ever seen one. And I have. This is one of them. With a really nice profile for, more... it's not an aggressive tactical shape or size for that matter. It's classy in a really nice way. 2.625, so 2 5/8 inch on the blade length. Nice, useful drop point shape. Aluminum handles and black lip mother of pearl firing button right there. Very, very nice. Deep carry clip to keep things out of the way when you're not using it. Nothing sounds like a ProTech. So nice. Limited edition because this knife itself is not limited, but this particular combination of finishes, etc. Supplies last. Awesome little knife. Next up, I promise we'll get to some larger knives soon. The Holier Nerd from Three Rivers. We got a batch of this in as well. I mentioned it last week, but didn't show you, so here we go. Another Magna cut blade here, 2.2 inches in length. What do we want to call that blade shape?
I have an idea.
Spay. Right. Good job, Thomas. $220 for this US-made knife right here. We've got an inset liner lock. Folds up nice and tidy. This is one of those very, very easy knives to carry. Would even fit in that fifth pocket on a pair of blue jeans. You do have a deep carry clip. Depending on your hand size, you may even be able to do the reverse flick. I'm having to put some significant effort into getting that open, but again, my hands are slightly larger than average, and this handle is slightly smaller than average. Actually, let's do a quick comparo here. Yeah, it's overall a little bit bigger than the Knafs, as you can see, but standard grip area, you've gotten more on the O.C.T right there, even though you have less edge. Yeah. Definitely a 2.5 finger grip for me. Although you do have the unguarded finger choil up here, which if your fingers are small enough, you'll be able to get a real confident grip there. My fingers are not quite small enough, however. But the blade itself is nice and slicey with that Magna cut steel, which we've already talked about. G10 on the handle, tumbled finish on the blade. But this is just one of the several variants we do have in stock. So if you're looking for a small premium USA made knife, you should check out the link in the description. Hey, guess what? We got another fixed blade next. Hooray, said everybody. Hooray. Hooray. Everybody dance now, that sort of thing. This is the Dust Devil from Kubey Knives. A little bit of a different shape to it, but I'm digging what's going on here with the spine of the blade, especially kind of arcs up. In a way, it's reminding me of not in a way, it is reminding me of a Canadian-style belt knife in what it's doing here. Price is pretty affordable too, $64. You got a 3 1/4 inch blade of 14C28N, close family member to my favorite ingot steel, with in this case red micarta handles, but there are a few different flavors that you could get your hands on. There's not really much of a finger guard at the front, but you do have this hint of jimping right there. So as you're gripping it, you have that sort of tactile clue that you are right at the edge of the handle, and going any further forward, you might start to contact the edge. But the jimping there and on the spine gives a pretty confident place to hold. And standard grip, I can just barely get all 4 of my fingers on there in a saber grip right there. But if I really hammer grip up on it, yeah, it's pretty secure given the fact that it is relatively narrow overall. This would be an awesome everyday carry slicer though, for sure. Dig that. Sheath, where are you at? There it is. Not quite as low profile as the Defiant 7 things we looked at there at the beginning, or at least the first one especially. That's actually interesting. This is a much smaller knife, and yet the sheath is wider in the pocket than the big Defiant 7 we looked at first. Anyway. Comes with the compact dots style clip, which means it is Tech-Lock compatible, or Ulti-Clip should also work really nicely if you wanted to carry this concealed or in the pocket. Big oversized loop at the back if you wanted to throw a lanyard on it to get it out of the pocket easier. I like it. All right. We're getting bigger, but we're keeping things nice and slim now. Vosteed sort of made waves at SHOT Show a couple weeks ago with their Raccoon TiSlim. Now, the Raccoon was already, if not their most popular model, like in the top 5 bestsellers for sure. Well, they've taken it out, given it titanium handles, and gone slim with it. Knives like their Parallel, they've really been concentrating on doing the really thin titanium handles, and they've brought that to their most popular, or near as darn it most popular design out there. And the best part is the price. It takes more precision basically to mill titanium this thin, but $135 is the starting price of these. You're not going to get a powder steel at that price. The more the investment is going into the handles, but 154 cm is still very solid stuff. There's 6 options to choose from right now, going up to $175 depending on which version you get. I like the Copper Dune finish that they've been doing on several of their models, but combined with the black stonewash, that's a really classy look. But the plain Jane version here has it's easier to see some of the nice details they've done, such as a collar around the thumb studs for a pop of color there, and in this case it is color matched as well. You got a milled titanium pocket clip. It's reversible, so they've maintained that even despite the slim scales. The crossbar lock, super smooth, working great. Action is great. Blade shape is great. Thinness is great. Slicing is great. Feel in the hand is even pretty great, despite how slim it is. Great enough for you? Yeah. It's just really nice. This is going to be up there. This is starting off on the short list for contenders at the end of the year already, let me tell you. It's just really, really well executed, especially for the price. 3.18 is the blade length, if you were wondering. Next up, this is much more expensive. A limited edition Shirogorov. So you know it's going to be more expensive, right? $2,595 for this RKMP collaboration with Charles Marlowe. Is it worth it to you? I can't tell you that. You have to decide for yourself, of course. But it is really, really nice. The finish on the handle I'm really digging as well. It's sort of a light stonewash that you see on this sort of bronzed finish, and then milled off on the sides with these fluted lines here, smooth here at the back. Just, it's nice to look at. It's nice to turn over and perceive from different angles. The blade itself is M398, so you've got something more exotic than the M390, of course. Not as tough. It is a little bit more brittle, that should be said, but very, very high degrees of edge retention. Full-length swedge, the line of the swedge going into the character line of the handle here as well. Technically a drop point, but it gets pretty straight right here and then only barely dips at the tip, and I'm talking like barely. Super, super thin and super fine sharpness to the edge itself, which is always a Shiro trademark for sure. The other Shiro trademark is phenomenal flipping action. Be very disappointed if it didn't flip well. It flips really, really well. 4-finger grip, carries nice and slim. Edge or blade geometry overall is going to be a great slicer. What more you want to know? Milled pocket clip. There. That enough for you? I don't know. All right. We had the small. We had the bigger but slimmer. Now we're off the diet. We're eating again. This is a new version of the Midgard's Messer design Bombur from Tenable Knives. Chonker. right? This thing is not about delicate X-Acto knife, scalpel-like slicing. This is about being a bruiser, being durable, just being something you don't have to treat nicely to get your work done. And the price is only about $69 as well. 3.53 inches on the blade itself. You've got D2 tool steel, and despite being a steel with less toughness overall compared to other things, you've got plenty of thickness there to make up for that and give you more strength. And you've got great edge retention at the price point to boot. Blade thickness is just under 0.2 of an inch. So what's that in millimeters? 5 mil blade. Really, really chunky. And not a full flat grind either. It's only a saber height flat grind. It terminates right underneath this fuller right here. So again, everything's about that base, basically. Jade G10 for the handles here. We've got a pocket clip custom for this model that's sort of cut out in the middle, but milled. So you've got a fair amount of strength on that as well. Liner lock for security. And opening this is pretty interesting because there's a pretty obvious blade cutout. So you'd think go there with the thumb or the middle finger, right, for the reverse flick. I'm finding this fuller in the blade actually to be the easier point with which to open the blade, both with that reverse flick or if I'm just doing a thumb open like that. Like I'm not even getting up there to the blade or the cutout itself, which I find pretty interesting. I like the protection of the finger guard on this as well. The blade comes all the way down. You got full width, but you've got that stop from your blade or your hand sliding forward, and because the edge is right there, you can get real fine and detailed with it at the end, and then just smash when you're done being careful. And it's all at a good price too. Several versions of that knife are available. This is just one of the new ones, and I don't remember the last time I showed it. So there you go. Next up, I'm going to go back to the high end. This is the Hokkaido, a collaboration with Barker Knives, and the handles are just, they're pretty awesome. I'll get to that in a second. $595 for this knife. It's assembled in the USA. Blade is 3.5 inches long with this Tanto profile and a really nice hand rubbed style finish on that. Just very, very nice. But the handles itself, titanium with a bolster style frame lock, paired with fat carbon for the scales. And the particular version of that they chose along with this tree bark texture milled into the titanium, I just think is really, really cool. I don't know of anyone else doing something quite like this because I've seen this sort of combo from them before, or at least the tree bark part of it before, and I've always been a fan. You see that carried through into the back spacer here, which contains a lanyard hole or lanyard spot at the back. You see that same texture on the pocket clip. This really sells it here, like the texture of the titanium parts and the fat carbon. Dig it very much. Action. Thomas says, we've been shooting this whole time. What do you mean action? But the action is good. Just listen. Yeah. Awesome. I love the finishes on that, and it sounds great. Next up is actually a combo of a knife and a pen-like tool. This is from Rike Knife. This is the Alien 4, and the price together is $420. Let me talk about the knife first. It is a frame lock flipper. You've got a bolted in Damasteel blade, essentially. It's, screwed into this carrier, which has the same kind of vertebral design or spinal column design that the rest of the handle does as well. It's not an integral, but it does join up here at the back. It is two sides screwed together. The detailing overall, however, is just really, really nice, very intricate, and it still works as a flipper. Is this going to be the most practical knife for you day to day? Well, the shape is certainly fine, especially if you're into bigger slicing cuts. The carrier for the blade up here will kind of get in the way of some of those slicier cuts. But I think if you're in the market for this type of style of a thing, that's kind of less of an issue. This is not the thing I would reach for most like heavy use in general. But the lockup is solid. The steel itself is Damasteel, so it's a powder metal Damascus. The edge retention is really good. The toughness is especially good. And the geometry is nice and slim overall for the blade. So especially if you're cutting in front of that carrier, you've got a lot of efficiency going on. Whole lot of efficiency going on. That's dumb, and probably gets a copyright strike. I don't know. The pen is not actually a writing implement, but it is a multi-tool. First off, you can see quite apparently there is a bottle opener here at the back. There's also the icebreaker. Thank you. Glass breaker ball bearing there at the tip. Nice milled pocket clip here. A lot of intricate milled detailing going on. It's also sort of a self-defense Kubotan style thing. The edge itself here, or tip itself here, is fairly acute. It's not sharp, but it would be effective. You could also do a little bit of prying with that. You could also do some flathead screw driving with that, given if the geometry is right on the particular screw head you're dealing with. If it's not, simply unscrew it. Because there is a 4mm hex driver built in, and it comes with a double-sided T8, T6 driver installed. Magnetic retention, as you can see right there. So you can use that. You can bring extra bits around and have a nice little bit driver for yourself on the go. All right, let's get some more fixed blades into the mix. Why not? This is the Kilroy Dagger from RMJ Tactical. And if you're a person of a certain age, yes, Kilroy was here as well. $550 for this version with the sort of splattered blade finish. You could also get it with a green G10 handle and a green blade finish. That's about $525 if you want to spend a little bit less. But the blade itself, double-edged dagger, just over 7 inches long, and the steel is M390. The edges themselves are kept fairly thick as well for extra durability in tactical situations. Because again, this is not a knife that's necessarily intended for scalpel-like slicing after all. You get that signature RMJ milled finish. You got the fuller on both sides as well. It is a symmetrical handle and blade, so no matter which way you grip it, if you're training for use in it in a tactical situation, you're going to be good to go. You don't have to think about which way you're holding the knife. G10, plenty of grip on that handle as well, and the sheath is Kydex. And because it's an ambidextrous or a symmetrical shape, the sheath itself is ambidextrous. Knife will go in either way. You can throw it on either side of the body. Kydex, as mentioned, you got 2 belt loops here with pull-the-dot snaps. I don't always mention this when I'm talking about this particular type of strap, but this is a MOLLE compatible width right here. So you could incorporate that into your gear pretty easily. If you want to take this belt loop off, let's check the tech lock. Tech lock compatible. Do we need a graphic for check the tech lock now? Yeah.
Dang. Now I gotta make it.
What can I say? Never pass up an opportunity for rhyming or alliteration. Next up, we're gonna end with olive knife. Because, should I make the joke? I'm gonna make the joke. Olive knives, and I hope you do too. And if you stuck around this long, you probably do. You've heard of green olives, but what if your olives go orange? There are 3 models from Olive at this point in time: the Venari, the Arbor, and the Lenta. Yeah, the Lenta. And we've had the Arbor in orange, but we're restocked on that, and I don't think we've had these other 2 models in orange before. If we have, we've got them back. So the Venari is another cool pocket fixed blade. And I want to talk about the sheath first, because they've kind of done things differently than most. They've put the rivets on the spine side of the knife, as opposed to what you see on virtually any other taco style version of a Kydex sheath. And by doing that, and by mounting the ulti clip to the side, as opposed to using those rivets, when you actually have this in your pocket, you can have it all the way back at the back edge of your pocket. So bulk is really minimized with this sheath design, which is very cool. So going past it for other things that are in that pocket, it's going to get in the way less than it otherwise would. Good on them. I like that a lot. Steel is LMAX on all 3 of these knives, and they've got an interesting grind here. Essentially, it goes up in a flat grind and then steps in, and then up and then in. So you've got like these sections of like release areas where, you know, the idea is hopefully a little bit at least you might avoid material sticking to the blade, and that's going to increase the efficiency of your slices overall, which is pretty cool. Blade length is just under 3 inches, really nice drop point. It's an unguarded edge here at the back, but it does kind of roll into the edge. So it's not like a crisp, you know, point where your finger does sit. So it's kind of, you know, splitting the difference there. Really nice scallops for a pinch grip. Good feel in the hand when you need to really grip down on it as well. And it's, for me, it's a 3.5 finger grip. Your mileage may vary. Oversized T30 hardware with pass-throughs. It's just a really cool look. They're made super well, and you know, doing something a little bit different, which is always interesting. Speaking of which, the Arbor, I love showing this knife because it's got some cool features, but even if you stripped all the features away, it would still be like a perfect fixed blade for, you know, outdoor use. I love the ergonomics. The size and shape is great for versatility and ease of carry, and it's a great shape. What are some of the special features though? Well, the clearly visible one is their Fibonacci grind, which is a series of flat grinds that approximates what a convex grind would do. And in use, it's basically a convex grind with a secondary bevel. But it's done on machines that, you know, don't have, you know, instead of by hand, which most convex blades are usually done that way. It looks really cool. You're going to get the benefits of strength that a convex grind would bring to the table, and it looks cool. And it works, and it looks cool. Right? Are we through? Like, we all understand each other? It looks cool, and it works. So there you go. The spine up here is crisp, so if you like to throw sparks off a fire steel or scrape things for tinder to bring up little fuzzies that are going to catch a spark better, you've got that option. But it's crowned here where your thumb would be pressing on the blade in certain cuts. So you got the best of both worlds there, comfort and scrapability. Crown spine all the way around. This version has flared tubes in the handle, but there are versions of this also available with that T30 hardware if you'd rather go that direction. And for me, the handle shape, man, it works so well. The feel is great. The sheath is Kydex. You got the rubber bumper here at the top, giving you a nice subtle place or a comfy place to push off on. And it allows them to kind of tune the retention as well, because you've got adjustability there. If you want to squeeze this down a little bit, you could do that for a tighter fit, or loosen it up because you don't like how tight the fit is. Options are optional. Tech check. Tech-Lock compatibility confirmed. Last but not least, we have the Lenta, which is their folder, their sole folder in the lineup right now. Also an orange G10 and LMAX, $329. Did I mention the price on the Arbor? $399 on that right now. It is a crossbar lock, but you can actually see both from the side and from the spine. Rather than using Omega springs, they've got a pair of conventionally twisted coil springs. Call it a coil spring, right? Which some say is more reliable, and just a nice differentiator for them as well. Good action. You got the T30 hardware here as well. This is another one where like the blade to handle ratio is quote unquote wrong, but the benefit in this case is you've got, you know, a very useful blade size. It's, you know, about little bit over 3 1/8 in this case, but you've got a full-sized handle for doing big work, especially if you're wearing work gloves. You can really work the blade quite nicely. There's enough grip here, just barely for 4 of my fingers, but you got plenty of space for choking up and, you know, holding closer to the edge, or bridge the gap somewhere in between. Oftentimes I'll have my thumb and forefinger kind of floating because all the grip is back in these last 2 fingers anyway. It's really nice. And it's got that stepped grind on this as well. Action is good. Clip is reversible. Crown spine. Lenta. Just don't lend it to your friend because they might not give it back. Last pun of the show. All right. Anyway, that's all we've got for now, folks. Let me know what you thought of the knives down in the comments, and to get your hands on any of them for yourself, check out the links in the description that'll take you to KnifeCenter.com. Don't forget about our Knife Rewards program. We've also added a ton of new payment options at checkout, including Sezzle if you want to break up your payments. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera, and we are signing off. See you next time.